You slit the throats of animals to appease some middlemen, some god. Christianity is worse. Claims that God had to die in a bloody ritual to forgive sins. It's pathetic. We will autopsy this idiots later on. Because Christianity says without the shedding of blood there is no forgiveness of sins, if you read Hebrews 9:22. Therefore God needs human or animal death to love you. Yet when we go to the oldest spirituality ever on earth, which came out of Africa, it's an open secret. They pour water, they do libations, they burn herbs, they do baptisms to honor ancestors. No blood. Why? Because killing life to worship life is as stupid as well as like torching a forest to save trees. To be honest, it is true that African spirituality, though radical, some African aspects include animal sacrifices. But these are rare, very, very symbolic, and they are never for forgiveness of sins by the real creator. Like a rooster in a voodoo, it is there to honor the spirits. It is not like slaughtering millions to appease a loving God. Blood atonement to us doesn't show any atonement at all. Do you know that global estimates say that over 100 million animals, sheep, goats, camels, cows are slaughtered annually during Eid al-Adha, commemorating Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his own son to a deity? Does blood atonement show God's love? You have to ask which God. You have heard that for God so loved this world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but should have eternal life. If your parent demanded you to kill a sibling to prove their love, you would call them a monster. Why are we worshipping monsters today? In Yoruba, the sacrifices, whether it's a chicken, whether it's anything to Ogan, the war god, it is for protection. This is a transactional, not a worship ceremony. The Dogons offer grains to ancestors. No blood, no groveling, no mass slaughter. It is just a ritual to be thankful. Sin is the problem here, but it has become a con job. In Abrahamic scam and all religions, sin against God equals guilt and fear. Demands more sacrifices, which is more lush. We will deal with lush later on. In African clarity, sin is like harming the self, the community, the parents, the nature, the gods, and the ancestors, not the unknowable creator. You can't. Accountability without cruelty. You break a taboo, you restore balance through community service, offerings to ancestors, not mass slaughter. In the Zulu, Ubuisa is restitution rituals. We use herbs, not blood. That is Ubuntu. Family relationships, Ukama, Ujamaa, Ujami, Invento, Hucho, society, community, and then spirituality. We suffer because we have sinned. But what is sin? Sinned against who? You can sin against everything except the real creator whom we do not know. For thousands of years, Abrahamic religions have weaponized animal sacrifices as a holy duty. But across Africa and across all indigenous spiritualities across the whole earth, they took a radical path. No altars drenched in blood. No bargaining with God. Why? Because the real creator is not God in the first place. The real creator is in some needy spirit. He's unknowable. He's an unknowable force that already gave us life, and destroying life to please it, that's not worship. That's insanity. Sacrifice should not be equal to fear. According to African spirituality, it must be reverence. That's the fact that we must know. In ancient African, as well as inclusive of Khamitic, which is African, or we want to call it Egyptian, as many others want to, so that they try to separate it from its parent roots, the spirituality animals held profound symbolic and religious significance. like totemic and reverential. Therefore, the greatest role of animals was not sacrifice. It was complex, and it was a contextual issue which was dependent on everything else, none other than killing that animal. Therefore, there is no mass animal sacrifices in African spirituality, because there are other methods of spirituality that includes metaphysics, alchemy, voodoo, astrology, numerology, symbology, cosmology, obia, and calling on the gods without blood, without sacrifices. Plenty. You have choices. Sacred animals like cats, bulls, ibises, falcons, birds were revered as manifestations of the deities and divine intermediaries. For example, the bull apisa, now found amongst all other African societies like Inkunzi Emzini, Mombe, Yamazi Sekuru, was ancestral bull associated with your ancestors. Normally, in ancient Khamitic was associated with Ptah, and later with Ausari. It was worshipped in life, and it was mummified and given a proper burial. It was not killed. It was not ritually killed. When it died, it was not eaten. Today, Africans are lost. They eat it and sell it. Ritual slaughter was limited, suggesting occasional sacrificial practices. Temple offerings during the festivals, like the Opet festival, included animals, cattle, geese, which may, at very rare occasion, ritually slaughtered, and meat offered as food to the deities. Meat was later redistributed to priests and worshippers. Divine judgment in the trial of the goose, the ritual was done to remind people and to cause people to affirm Ma'ati, the cosmic order. So our ancestors would use palm wine and the other activities. When we lost the red line, foreign influences started to come in. The Persians and the Greeks, the Greco-Roman culture and its influence. It was then at that time that all the evidence that they use today that Khamitic also sacrificed a lot of animals, or that Khamitic taught the Hebrews to sacrifice animals, started to occur, influenced by foreign practices. Just like current melanin-dominant human beings today, we have bishops who preaches Jesus, who preaches Muhammad, who preaches the Quran, the Bible, and Jesus. And others are Hindus. You have to be removed first from your totemic and animistic quantum understanding for you to love animal sacrifices. Because there is not even one melanin-dominant human being, a Muntu, a black person, a Negro, who has no totem or no totems. So when we look at the ethical and a symbolic context, we realize that unlike in Mesopotamia, in Maya or Vedic traditions that had moved far away from the mother source, we find now large-scale blood sacrifices. But these were rare in Afro spirituality because the emphasis was on symbolic offerings, bread, beer, incense, over live slaughter. When animals were killed, it was often tied to specific theological narrative. The gods' battles or the gods or the ancestors would specifically want that to be done, to pay for something else. So if you killed somebody, then they will be killed to equalize what you have done and to prevent the art spirit to come back. So if something is killed because you've killed somebody, in Wendell and Ngozi, it cancels out and the balance. So capital punishment was there always. So as we continue to look into this, let's remember that animal sacrifices existed, but were and they are not central to Afro spirituality at all. The practice was situational, blending reverence for sacred life with ritual necessity. There was no mass slaughter. Most animal-related rituals focused on veneration, symbolism, or votive mummification rather than sacrificial slaughter. Ancient Judaism, the temple in Jerusalem, required daily lamb, animal, bird sacrifices. When you look at Solomon's dedication, it involved about 142,000 animals over 2 weeks. When you look at the Eid festival that we have looked at, the Islamic one, Every year, remember this, 100 million animals are slaughtered by Muslims. Every year. But the parent original source, for example, in Ghana, amongst the Akan, we pour wine, not blood, for ritual. Even in the Yoruba, our philosophy is Oludumare, representing the unknowable real creator, who we are taught that is too vast to need any sacrifice. What can you sacrifice? Nothing. What's wrong with animal sacrifices anyway? Any religion that emphasizes mass animal sacrifices is a worship low-level vibrational religion. It's worshipping a low-level God, a divinity who is not even primordial. You're like Yahweh, like Allah, like Vishnu, like Jesus, low-level ones with finite souls and a time when they began to exist. These gods are emotional. They are transactional spirits that want something from you if they are to do something for you. They masquerade as the great real creator, and a lot of people think they are worshipping the real creator, but they do not know that they are being used as a generator for lush energy, for spiritual energy, negative spiritual energy for these gods. These are imposter gods that demand blood, animal, human sacrifices to sustain their power. That's the reason. Blood rituals generate this lush energy harvested from suffering, pain, and destruction. They framed slaughter as sacrifice, but it's feeding these parasitic entities that have tricked billions into believing that they are worshipping the divine. Our ancestors knew better, because they taught us that the real creator is unknowable and is nameless. That the real creator is not a being, is not a spirit, does not demand anything from us. But that at certain occasions, we can interact via the waters of Nyunyu and other sacrifices with our gods and ancestors as per our willing heart. We have to decide, oh, we want to sacrifice, or I just want to talk to them. No blood needed. You can't feed the infinite, or that which is beyond the infinite. You cannot sin against it anyway. Sacrifices, when they are done, they target lesser spirits like Orishas, ancestors, and the practical goals are never to reach the real unknowable creator. The real unknowable creator, you might actually ping him mentally. You can read my book, Free From God. Now, you can get it in audio format, and you can relax and have it narrated. You enjoy, you have a good time with it. It will open a lot of doors for you. You can get it from Amazon. But remember, the real creator is incomprehensible. It's not a man, it's not a being, it's not a spirit, it's not love, it's not a head. It's beyond. It's beyond the chasm. The real creator is not God. When you go to Christianity, there is a lot of stuff there you can laugh at. You realize that God sacrificed himself to save you from himself. Why? Because then in Romans you hear that it's in Romans 12 verse 1 it says you must sacrifice yourself. What is it that they want you to sacrifice? And you go to the Shema where he say, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one." There's something that they want you to surrender. Even Islam means to submit or to surrender. What is it they want you to surrender? It is your soul. You have to sacrifice your soul. You are dealing with a lower level God. Yahweh, Allah, Jesus, Buddha, or anybody, or Brahma. They've rigged. And the loophole is to keep you trapped in a guilt, sacrifice, lush consciousness. But our ancestors framed everything for us to know. Religions are farming you for lush. Our African sages broke free. Are you going to break free yourself? Find where no mass animal sacrifice has ever been performed in that spirituality of yours. Because if ever your religion that you are following today had performed and has performed and perform mass animal sacrifices, you are trapped for your energy by them gods. Now, I've said a statement here that I want to prove. Let's go to African ancestors. The religion, before we had refined it to the point we are saying now the real creator is this, let's go to what they taught and told the Europeans when they came. So when the Europeans came and they were asking us about God, they told them that no, our God is a remote high God. He is cut off from us. That's what they told. This diagram comes from one of the oldest papers that was crafted by European missionaries. When they studied our theology and studied our spirituality, this is what they were told. That, listen, when we talk about the real creator, or when we talk about God, they wanted to sound equivalent with them. They said it's remote, it's removed from us. So our ancestors, by that time, when they were dealing with the living dead, with the gods, with the spirits, they knew that they want power. It's a transaction. They want one for one. They have to do it for them. I have to do certain rituals for my ancestors. If I don't do those rituals, my ancestors will never remember me. So our ancestors refused to worship scam gods. Why are you bowing down to foreign ones? Think about that, because this is your way out. So if you really want your way out, we welcome you to study with us at Bantu University. You can enroll and study, and also watch our YouTube videos. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. And to the glory of our ancient ancestors, we want to thank you that you have been with us thus far. Amen. Amen. Amen.